Thanks for joining us for Eye on New Mexico. I'm Spencer Schott. This week we are checking in with the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office. It's been 6 months since Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham appointed Sam Bregman as the new district attorney. And since then, there have been quite a few changes. Bregman highlighted some of his successes this week.
It's 6 months ago when I had an initial news conference. I said I was going to update the community, and that's what this is. This is 6 months in, and we have some information that I want to share with you all about what this office is doing and how it's doing it. And I've got to tell you, this is no victory lap. This is nothing of any sort like that. But what this is though, I'm telling you, I believe things are starting to get better when it comes to crime in Bernalillo County. And specifically, I told you all that one of my biggest, most important jobs was recruiting. We needed more prosecutors when I got in this office. We now have hired 35 prosecutors in 6 months. In the entire last year, before this year, in 2022, this office hired 12 total. We've hired 35 in 6 months. I'm really proud of that because that has a profound effect on the way we prosecute cases and the ability to do the kind of job that we need to do. Pretrial detention is obviously a very important issue in this community. Pretrial detention numbers are up, and they're up because of the hard work that the prosecutors in this office are doing. We are focused like a laser beam when it comes to making sure the courts understand how dangerous someone is. We do not file these pretrial detention motions on everyone. We file them on the people that we believe are a threat to the safety of the community, and we explain to the court why. We're doing things like bringing more witnesses to these hearings. That's making a very big difference in my mind. Courts are hearing from witnesses, from whether it's a cop, whether it's a neighbor, about perhaps how violent someone may be. Numbers are up when it comes to pretrial detention, and I'm very, very excited about that. Indictments. We've indicted in the 6 months 408 people. We've launched over 820 cases since we've been, 800 and some felonies, let me add. And I'm very happy with that. Division stats. We have different divisions. Well, obviously, we have major crimes, which deal with homicide, kidnapping, our special victims unit. Major crimes in 2023, they have 635 open cases. That's a lot of cases. The average number of open cases per attorney is 32, and the average number of homicide cases per homicide attorneys is 27. The reason that's important is because I can tell you anecdotally, when I first got in here and this job, my understanding was homicide attorneys had around 50 cases apiece. Now they're down to 27. We still want that number to go down. General crimes, which deals with everything from auto burglary to residential burglary to drug trafficking cases. In 2022, the average number of cases per attorney was 86. It's now 58. We are really, really pleased with that. That doesn't mean that that's necessarily where it needs to end. We need to continue to reduce these numbers. And the reason these statistics are so important are because the more we bring in new attorneys, the more we unclog the bottleneck, the more opportunity for each attorney to spend on each case. Therefore, we're doing better justice by making sure that people are, in fact, taking the time necessary to prepare and present that case. Trials. Number of trials in this office. Felony trials in the entire year of 2022 was 57. In the 6 months in 2023, we've tried just about the same number in 6 months as we did all last year. Conviction rates on trials were up close to 10%, and we're doing twice as many trials in the same period of time. Misdemeanors. There's an example. Misdemeanors in 2022, we had 40 trials. We have 83 in 2023. In 6 months, we've doubled the number of misdemeanor trials. Conviction rate at 65%. Overall, we have tried 137 cases in 6 months. 137, 88 convictions with a 65% approval rate. Obviously, one of the cases this office is very pleased about, or that we were successful, Stephen Goldman, Jimmy Atkins, and Julio Almontero guilty of 2 counts each of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. This office is doing great work. Diversion. Diversion is a really important issue for me. You know, some people would never end up in the criminal justice system if it were not for them becoming addicted to a drug. And that addiction causes them to do things they may never have done otherwise. And we have a pre-prosecution diversion program in this office that I think is really outstanding in the sense that it gives people an opportunity. It gives them an opportunity to keep a felony off their record. It gives them an opportunity to get treatment. It gives them an opportunity, hopefully, to get on the right track and never be in the criminal justice system again. I'm very pleased to tell you that with working with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, which is the courts, us, the Public Defender's Office, and others, we have literally just received one of the biggest grants they've ever given at $580,000 for the diversion program, and that's going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives, and we're very pleased with that and very hopeful that continues to be a success. And when I talk about diversion, when I talk about diversion, we had 308 total active participants in this office last year. Today, in 6 months, we have 357 active. I'm going to keep hiring me until the HR people tell me I can't afford it anymore. So I am going to keep hiring prosecutors, and meaning the budget, of course. We are going to continue to hire until we are fully staffed. I believe that's 125. You know, every single couple of months or so, we may lose a prosecutor due to retirement, due to moving to another state, for various reasons. So we are going to continue hiring, and so I'd like to see another 10 to 15, maybe even 20 more lawyers hired, and we are going to stay focused on bringing in good lawyers who want to be prosecutors, who want to make a difference in their community.
Welcome back to Eye on New Mexico. This week we are checking in with Bernalillo County District Attorney Sam Bregman. While there have been successes in his first 6 months, there's one issue that continues to plague the metro, and that's teens with guns. Before we get back to Bregman's update, we did a story here at KOB about the psychology behind why teens feel the need to carry, but also use guns. There are now another 21 reminders of what happens when a gun gets in the wrong hands. We've seen the painful impacts here in New Mexico. Kids killed on or near their school campuses in Albuquerque just within the last year. And the suspects accused of pulling the trigger, also kids.
One of the problems is a gun is such a symbol of power in our society. And so by having a gun, that gives you this sense of power. And unfortunately, there are a lot of sort of, if you will, sort of storylines or tropes in our society where, you know, power makes right.
If not the illusion of power, it's perhaps the protection. Gun violence prevention advocates say kids think they need a weapon to defend themselves.
That is also a real situation, not in terms of mass shootings, but you know, kids bringing guns to parties, kids bringing guns everywhere they go because they think, quote unquote, it's going to make them safe.
Now, both Carol and Viscoli say it's more important than ever for parents to talk to their kids about guns and be aware of what's happening in their circles.
My advice to them is to put down the gun. We all need to put down our firearms and stop using them to solve our personal disputes.
They say while the conversation is necessary, so is the way you approach it.
Children will reference you about, you know, how to respond to situations. So if you're calm and you're reassuring, they'll be calmer and they'll be reassured.
That story aired last summer, but according to Bregman, that problem hasn't gotten any better since.
The next slide is the slide that keeps me up at night, quite frankly. This is a problem, an ongoing problem, and a horrific problem with us right now in our community. We have juvenile cases involving a firearm in 2023 of 150. We have 150 different cases in this community where juveniles were found with a firearm, or used a firearm, or something along those lines. This is a community problem. We obviously are very focused on it in our juvenile division here in our office. Law enforcement's focused on it. The courts are focused on it. But we can't do this, even what I've just mentioned. These entities can't do it by themselves. This has to be an entire community effort because juveniles with guns is such a dangerous, dangerous recipe. They are our future. We say that, it's almost cliche, but they are the next generation. It's very, very important that we do what we can to ensure everybody's safety. Speaking of guns, we launched a zero tolerance program a few months ago. Zero tolerance when it comes to guns on campuses, on APS campuses and other campuses, other high schools, middle schools, elementaries, private schools, charter schools. That's an example of a really big collaborative effort where if the community comes together, we can do things in a really positive way. This is a collaborative effort between our office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, APS, the City of Albuquerque, County of Bernalillo, Albuquerque Police Department, Sheriff's Department, private schools throughout the country, throughout the county. And I will tell you that I'm really looking forward to one aspect of this in which we're going to have a prosecutor in a classroom once a week in high schools, and that's where we're going to launch this program in the upcoming school year. And I'm very excited. We've been working on the curriculum. We've been working with APS, and I think that's going to be a big thing because we're going to continue to reinforce the fact to juveniles and students that guns are not allowed on campus and really expose them a little bit to the criminal justice system in a way by presenting these things to them. Accountability. Since we launched this, there's been 2 people, and by the way, the recent shooting of the custodian, I'm looking forward to holding whoever did that fully accountable, and I'm sure we will. But we've had one 18-year-old student who had 2 guns on him. Those guns were involved, and this is one of the things that law enforcement is really stepping up to the plate and doing a good job on. We are tracing guns. We are finding out what these guns have been used for. The 2 guns found on that 18-year-old were involved in 15 other shootings. 15 other shootings. That's an incredible number. It's an incredible amount of violence. We're going to hold. We filed a preventative detention motion on him, and I'll never forget. The court said there's nothing more dangerous than a gun on campus. It's every single parent's nightmare. When we also have someone else who's pretending, I guess, to be a law enforcement officer. We filed a preventative detention motion on him as well, and we were successful in detaining him. And finally, when it comes to guns, juveniles, schools, Benny's Law, obviously named after Benny Hargrove, the tragedy that took place at Washington Middle School just a couple of years ago. The legislature saw that, the governor encouraged it, and I'm very grateful to them because that is another tool in the toolbox to holding irresponsible gun owners who leave guns out for children to get access to and then unfortunately harm someone, including themselves. That is unacceptable, and we are going to hold people fully accountable, and that law has recently taken effect.
Welcome back to Eye on New Mexico. This week we are checking in with District Attorney Sam Bregman and how his first 6 months have gone. One issue that he says that still needs work is retail crime.
Shoplifting, retail crime. Clearly, when I came in and I visited with y'all when I first got this job, I said this is going to be a focus. It is a focus of this office. The legislature and the governor, and I'm very grateful to them, saw this as the same problem as we do. They passed this legislation. Now we're going to be able to aggregate, in other words, add up the different shoplifting crimes and make them into a felony. We are going to be able to hold people accountable if they commit a shoplifting by using a firearm. And we're going to be able to go after those people that are simply sending these folks out to shoplift and then fence them on eBay or whatever other type of online or whatever way they fence these products. And we are going to hold them all accountable. I'm very excited about that. We have a warrant roundup starting in a big, big way. I know that APD is excited about it, as I, like everybody else, have seen, and BCSO is excited about it.
While they are excited about some of the work done during the last session, the damage has already been done, especially in low-income neighborhoods like the International District here in Albuquerque. Earlier this year, 4 Investigates Brittany Costello took a deep dive into how retail crime is driving away metro businesses.
Walking is a big part of daily traffic in Albuquerque's International District.
It's really a straight shot from where we are as the crow flies, but you have to zigzag over there.
Zuni to San Pablo to Central, walking through what Shane Young calls some tough areas to pick up his basic necessities from his local Family Dollar.
The whole front of their store is got plywood now. Vandals just keep breaking their windows.
Where employees say crime is almost as expected as shoppers.
I mean, we get robbed, we get threatened with guns, we get knives pulled out on us. Sometimes people threaten to stick us with their dirty needles. People just push us around if they can.
Is this a daily occurrence?
Yeah.
A problem so bad, we went back to the store 1 week later and saw this sign, one customer at a time.
The other day, me and my coworker were stopping these people and I got hit in the side of my face with something that they threw at me and stuff.
New Mexico Chamber of Commerce President Rob Black says retail crime is more brazen and violent than ever. Last year, a suspected shoplifter told police she intentionally started fires inside the Walmart in Edgewood to create a diversion, a haul, until stopped in the parking lot that was supposed to feed a drug habit. In Albuquerque, cameras caught an 18-year-old trying to steal ammunition at Cabela's.
I start hearing gunshots just going off, boom, 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 boom. And so I get down and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are gunshots.
Destruction you don't have to witness to see. In Southeast Albuquerque, stores are investing heavily in property protection, covering almost every shelf in plastic, locked containers.
Are we ever going to completely stop it? But we can stop it enough to where we don't.
Some stores are limiting bag sizes. Others are adding wheel locks to shopping carts.
The criminal elements in New Mexico are making more money off of retail crime than they were off of selling drugs.
Albuquerque Police Commander Aaron Jones.
There's not one area of town that doesn't have this issue.
And it's costing shoppers, often those who can least afford it. Police were dispatched to the Walmart at San Mateo near Central more than 1,400 times for various calls in 2019.
That area has more people going to it than, let's say, somewhere that's a couple miles west or a couple miles east. And there's not another box store, like it in that area.
Those calls were cut in half in 2022, APD says, with the help of targeted police operations. But while those calls went down, calls to nearby businesses went up. At the Big Lots and nearby Family Dollar.
Big Lots closed, other stores too. This used to be a Family Dollar, and now there's a sign that says permanently closed. And that creates an entirely different problem for this community. Even fewer places to find those basic necessities.
The International District has 35 SNAP-accepted stores. 9 of those are gas stations. Many are specialty or corner shops. 3 of those stores have closed within the last year. Employees with 2 others told us they could be next.
Because we try every day to help stay this store open. That's why we come to work every day.
It's devastating because the only other options that you have are maybe these small mom and pop stores, but I'll only shop there if I have to because the prices are so high compared to everywhere else.
We went shopping for milk, eggs, and bread. Customers will pay about $10 at Walmart. Shopping at the other stores will cost you around $3 more, just for those 3 items.
Once a month, I'll buy some groceries at Walmart. That's 2 city blocks away. So I still have to walk to Central and get on a bus and go to Walmart.
We're going to see more businesses closing. We're going to see them continue to be able to provide less services in our communities. And we're going to see more customers feeling anxious about going out into the community to go shopping. And we should not fear going to buy some eggs at the grocery store.
The state is taking a massive hit. It's estimated that New Mexico is losing $37 million a year in taxes just from retail theft. That's thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in lost wages. So what's it going to take?
We can't wait anymore. Like I said, the criminal justice system has failed. Something has to be done this 60-day session.
We're looking at legislative plans and new priorities at the city and county level. Is the justice system failing, and what's being done about it? Friday night on the Night Beat. Brittany Costello for Investigates.
Fast forward to July, and now some of those laws Brittany mentioned not only passed, but have gone into effect. Sam Bregman says they'll be game changers in the courtroom.
Also, with the organized retail crime bills, a big piece of those was the ability to aggregate charges so that they reach felony level or what have you. How has that, if at all, changed the way you and your office prosecutes these cases?
It's a great question, and you're spot on it, because in the past, shoplifting cases that are misdemeanors are officer-prosecuted cases. This office in misdemeanors prosecute DWIs, domestic violence, primarily in Metro Court. Shoplifters, a misdemeanor, someone steals something worth $100 from a Walgreens. The officer who either wrote the criminal complaint and or arrested the person is the one prosecuting. That's an officer prosecuted case. They will continue to prosecute misdemeanors. However, this office before, and this has changed now, we are going to track, which we didn't do before, every single person who is charged with shoplifting, so that when we see frequent flyers, when we see people who are being arrested more than once, we see in a 2-week period a couple of arrests, even farther than that period. But we're going to keep an eye on it. So if they meet a certain threshold, we're going to charge them with a felony. But let's say they don't meet that threshold, but they're constantly shoplifting, we're going to jump in those cases. We can enter on any case, obviously, and we will make a difference when it comes to retail shoplifting, because it's not just scary for the business owner. It's so frightening for anybody that's going shopping to see this happening. And it's, I hear about it every morning from my wife, quite frankly, at breakfast. This is a real concern in this community.
Back in January, when Bregman threw his hat in the ring to become the DA, he said he wasn't interested in running for re-election once this single-year term is up. But with so many new programs in place, we asked him, have his plans changed?
I knew that question was coming. Yes. And I'm human, I changed my mind, but let me tell you why I've changed my mind and I will be running for district attorney. When I got into this office, I was sincere in the sense that I didn't think I would. But we have put things in place, as I've just gone through, that I believe are starting to make a difference. And I want to see them through. I've never been a quitter, and I want to see if I'm putting these things in place that are starting to make a difference, I want to keep making that difference. And so, yes, I will be running.
Thanks for watching Eye on New Mexico, and remember, we'll be back here next weekend with an all-new episode.